Thank you very much. Moving on from Band-Aid, you made a solo album. If I Was on your first solo album. What was it like writing just for yourself instead of with a band?
Again, it was a period where, you know, Ultravox was still very much in existence, but we'd gotten, I don't know, we'd kind of started getting into this whole technological nightmare where everything was complicated. You know, if there was someone once said that Ultravox was so painful that, you know, if you wanted to scratch your nose, you'd have to kind of do it that way, you know, because we made things difficult for ourselves, because it was a challenge. I was craving some simplicity, and I'd just built my studio. And instead of, you know, doing what Ultravox did, which was, you know, rehearse, write, tour a lot. We toured with a live band and then come straight off tour, go back into rehearsals, write again, and then record, and then go out and tour. We had done this for quite a few years, so we took a break, and in that break I decided to go into my studio and start writing some instrumentals and some very straightforward kind of pop songs. And the record company didn't know I was doing it, my management didn't know I was doing it. I was doing it because I could. I had the facilities, I had the time, and I started putting things together. I was working with a friend of mine, a guy called Danny Mitchell, who's a great songwriter, and again didn't feel maybe brave enough to step outside of the collective. You know, I'd done Visage as a collective. Ultravox was very much a collective. So the idea of stepping outside of that and doing something totally on my own was a little daunting. So I worked with Danny on that, and If I Was a song that he had around for a while, and we both ended up working on it and turning it into this thing that we eventually played the record company, who freaked when they heard it because they saw hit written all over it.
Could we hear If I Was?
Yeah, sure.
If I was a better man, would fellow men take me to their hearts? If I was a stronger man, carrying the weight of popular demand, tell me, would that alarm her? I'd never harm her at all. If I was a soldier, captive arms I'd lay before her. If I was a sailor, 7 oceans I'd sail to her. If I was a wiser man, would other men reach out and touch me? If I was a kinder man, dishing up love for a hungry world, tell me, would that appease you? 'Cause I want to please you again. If I was a poet, all my love in burning words I would show it. If I was a painter, I'd paint a world that could not taint her. Oh, come here, my baby. Oh, they can't touch you now. I'll keep you safe and warm. I'll never leave you at all. Come here, my baby. Oh, they can't touch you. Giving up love for a hungry world. Tell me, would that appease you? Oh, I want to please you again. If I was her leader, above, I would feed her. If I was her lover, her eyes in kisses I would cover her.
If I was. Thank you very much. After the complexities of Ultravox, after the, I guess, anomaly of Do They Know It's Christmas, was this a return to a more simple way of songwriting? Did it feel like you were taking it back to the source a little bit?
The timeline had actually started. It was wrong. The timeline was different. I'd started working on this solo album prior to the whole Band Aid thing happening.
Okay.
And this was put on ice until the Band Aid thing was out the way, which we all thought would take a couple of weeks, and it's taken 20-odd years now. And then I went back to it, still in that gap that we had from Ultravox. So I finished the album, and then I went out on tour, and then the Band Aid thing became monstrous and rolled into Live Aid and all of that stuff. And it actually took me away, not necessarily the solo writing, but the whole Band Aid thing took me away from Ultravox for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. To the point that when we got back together again, I realised that we'd actually moved apart to the extent that we the last album we did was just a mishmash of ideas.
It must be hard to know or accept, especially with such a successful band as Ultravox, to realise that that time has come.
I don't think it's something you can analyse. I just think you feel it, or you cease to feel it. Mm-hmm. You get up in the morning and it starts to become a bit of a grind, and it shouldn't be a grind. It should never be a grind. You should love it and be thankful that it's there. Every day you should get up and thank God I don't have to go and sweep the streets or drive a van like my father did.
What do you think is needed to write good songs? What do you think are the skill sets which you need to make a song work?
Well, some of the best songs ever written have been written with 3-4 chords. You don't have to be the consummate musician to be able to do it. As I say, I think I'll hark back to my musical education. I'm not convinced you can be taught how to write songs. I think there are degrees or college degrees you can do to teach you how to write songs. I'm not sure it's a teachable skill. I think a sense of melody and an interesting subject matter, and to me the paramount thing is the interesting approach to that subject matter. Mm-hmm. If there's an interesting way to come at it and come behind it and come up from underneath it, do that. The world has...
Avoid the cliche.
Avoid the cliche. The world is just... There's enough love songs with, I love you, you love me, let's get together and make three. It's kind of dull. There's more interesting ways of saying it. Strive for that and you'll capture somebody's imagination. If you stick your neck out and you're true to yourself, sometimes the oddity becomes the norm. The oddity turns everything round. And all of a sudden, instead of you trying to be like everybody else will try and be like you. And that kind of happens, and they're the magic moments in my life. There are maybe a handful of songs that I could say by other artists that when I heard those songs, they profoundly changed me forever. There's no going back once you're exposed to certain things in your life, and that's the same for everyone. And be inspired by those, and don't be inspired by the thought of flash car or making loads of money, because that's transient. That'll disappear. Try and hone your skill and realise what you're good at, and make whatever it pays you. Pay you through life. Make it work for yourself. Don't go for the wrong end of the stick. Just see what you're good at, focus on it, and grab it with both hands, and just be thankful that someone lets you do it.
Midge Ure, thanks so much.
It's a pleasure.